Fight fans, welcome back to Curl Cruise MMA. Today we got a returning guest to the platform. My guest getting ready, making his UFC return August 8th in the Apex. He's taking on Billy Ray Goff. He is Ty Miller. Ty, what's up, my friend? How are you?
What's up, man? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Last time out, you fought at one of the first cards of the year. You were the first fight on the Paramount era, if I remember correctly. You went out there, amazing victory. What was that experience like for you?
It was awesome, man. To be a part of the first fight for the Paramount era was awesome, and then getting the first finish for the Paramount era and the first bonus. So, yeah, it was awesome, man. It was an amazing experience, and I was super thankful too that the UFC allowed me to first off open the Paramount era like that, and then open up the first fight of the year as well. So, yeah, it was awesome.
So where were you at when you got the phone call that you were chosen to win the bonus?
We had just got back to the hotel, and my coach Matt Priest calls me, and he was like, "Hey, go to the press conference, and go to so and so time." And then I went on there, and then he goes, Gaethje Pimlet fight of the night, and then Hockett and me performance bonus, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, man!" I kept telling my girlfriend too. I was like, "God, imagine if we get that performance bonus," and then the day of the fight is when I found out that they increased the bonuses. So I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna try to go for that finish for sure. So it was incredible, man. And yeah, to get a bonus for 50,000 is one thing, and then for it to be upgraded to 100,000 is something else. You're like, fuck, And I was able to increase my fighter pay by 5 times as much, So it was awesome.
We've talked about before, when you're trying to get to the UFC and you're battling it on the regional scene, you're not making Conor McGregor money. You're not making $100,000 a fight there. When you're able to have luck like this and be able to get the job done, get a great payday, does it make you reflect on the journey? Does it make you hungry for more? What were the thoughts after that?
Yeah, a little both. I don't really stop and smell the roses too much, but I felt like kind of after this last fight, I was like, it was cool looking back after my debut and just thinking of the hard road to get to where I am right now, and then obviously getting a bonus like that, and then just as a competitor too, I want to keep climbing the rankings and fight the best fighters too, and prove that I have the best style out there, and yeah, it made me want more, and at the same time, I was able to reflect and be like, man, this has been an awesome journey so far.
It's kind of crazy. About a year ago, we interviewed for the first time. It was before your Dana White Contender Series fight.
Mhm.
If I would have told you 1 year ago that you would have been on UFC, fight big pay per view, win the $100,000 bonus, would have you perceived it?
Yeah, just not as early, that I wasn't expecting it, right away. But yeah, it's awesome that it happened as soon as it did. It really helped too because, with that money I was able to get, my family a home. And so, yeah, and we moved from Albuquerque to Rio Rancho. I'm still training out in Albuquerque, but we moved out to Rio Rancho. We got a nice house. So it's been awesome, man. It really helped us. And, I'm glad. I'm happy that Dana, picked me as one of the performance bonuses. So super grateful.
For you, you're a very calm, composed, well mannered guy. Being mentally strong, has that always come natural for you?
No, uh, especially younger. I felt like I struggled with, being confident. I wasn't. I didn't really like the way I looked or the way I did things, and but there came a day where I was like, man, I need to make some changes, man. I need to start working harder. I need to work towards something. I need to find something. And MMA was always one of those things that I knew I wanted to do. And so, doing that alone really helped build my confidence. And then, teammates too, just listening to them and seeing what they did for themselves and listening to my coaches, the advice they gave me and, family members. And yeah, it helped build and shape the person I am today.
You know, since you've had some notoriety now, since you've been in the UFC, some people got to recognize you, some fans. Have you ever had any weird or funny fan interactions or encounters?
Uh, like now it's not weird, but it's just like it is weird and it isn't. You know, like the interactions themselves haven't been weird, but just like random things. Like I got a pizza at Whole Foods the other day. He was like, "You know who you look like? You look like Ty Miller." I was like, "Yep, that's me." Or like I got a job now. I'm working over at Albuquerque Pipe and Pump, and some guys that come through picked up some pipe, and he was like, "Bro, I'm tripping right now. You look like Ty Miller." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And he was he was super excited to talk to me and get a picture and everything. So, you know, little interactions like that are cool, man. And even on social media too, just random people DM me and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" Never met them in my life. And they're like, "Hey, how you doing? When you find again, man?" You know? So it's cool. We get a little attention here and there, but you know, yeah.
You know, what were your coworkers' reactions when you first told them you were a fighter? Because if you look at you, you don't really scream, "Hey guys, I'm a professional fighter."
No, yeah, they I think at first they were a little surprised. They're like, "Oh, cool." And then they go back and watch the fights that I've had and they're like, "Man, we watched some of your highlights. Like, that's pretty impressive." So, you know what's up.
You know, you're slowly becoming one of the most entertaining guys, I think, on the roster here. Obviously, just the one fight in the UFC now. Amazing performance against Drago in the Contender Series. You had a great run in LFA. How much pride do you take in your fun style?
I take a lot of pride in it. I feel like it's a fan-friendly, exciting style. You know, I like to stand and bang. You know, I'm always looking for the finish. I don't have a lot of finishes on my record. I know that, but the finishes I do have are, you know, they're pretty nice. You know, I and you know, again, I'm always looking for the finish, and even though I don't get it a lot of the times, I feel like the fact that I'm going for it creates an exciting fight. You know, so I haven't had a boring fight yet, whether it's in amateurs, professional level, boxing smoker, kickboxing smoker, grappling match, whatever it is.
So when you fight August 8th, when you make your return to the octagon, check out Billy Ray Goff, another guy always looking for the finish. What do you think of
Yeah,
him as an opponent?
yeah, I think he's a good boxer. You know, I feel like he cuts angles pretty good. You know, a lot of volume, high output, durable as well. You know, he's hard to get out of there. Um, some of the things I've seen on the ground too, he's got some nice transitions. You know, but I will say one thing is that I feel like he takes a lot of unnecessary shots. You know, and he kind of runs into things a lot because he's so uh, pressure heavy, and so you know, with my style, I know how to fight on the inside and the outside, and I can make him fight where I want him to fight, and I see myself getting to finish.
So we're
You
going
know,
to do this one.
sorry, I was just gonna say, I know he's gonna try to come in hard, fighting on the inside, and I think he's gonna run into something hard.
So we're going to do this one in the Apex. Obviously, your last time out there, amazing performance. Smaller cage. You've experienced both now. Do you think the smaller cage suits your game?
Uh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I've trained in smaller cages a lot, you know, and so I know how to fight in them, and you know, I know it's the same shit, really, almost, man. You know, yeah. I don't know if it suits me better or what, but either way, I'll find a way and win.
Absolutely. You know, with a big win over Goff, obviously it'd be two in a row in the UFC. You feel like that puts you maybe close to the outside of the top 15 if you get the job done here again?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, there's a lot of moving pieces in the welterweight division, like a lot of talent, a lot of really good fighters, and so you know, I don't know how close it gets me to the top 15, but I'm just gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna keep winning.
For you, man, what's the ultimate goal? Now you're in the UFC, you have a win under your belt, great performance. What are you looking to accomplish?
I'm looking to, you know, I want to be an exciting fighter, you know, and I want to get as many performance bonuses as possible, and I want that belt. So yeah, those are the main things for me.
Absolutely. This sport is such a crazy sport. You've experienced highs, you've experienced lows. How have you grown and evolved as a person from being in this?
Um, you know, I don't really know. Again, like sometimes I struggle with the stopping and smelling the roses. Obviously, as far as MMA, uh, I, my skills are developing and getting better and better every time I get in there. But as far as a person, I guess just more of a disciplined person. And, I know it makes me a better person for sure, whether it mellows me out or it's good for my body, things like that. But yeah, I, I, I don't really know though.
Do your
I hope
kids
it's
have an
making me
idea?
better.
Does your kids have an idea of what you do?
You know, it's hard to tell. Like she's seen my fights before, my oldest daughter Juno, and she's seen my fights before, and she recognizes me. But I don't. She like sometimes I try getting her to throw punches and kicks and things like that just to mess around, and she doesn't really care. She doesn't really do it, which is fine with me. Do whatever you want. But yeah, I don't know if they fully grasp like I'm a UFC fighter, and it's not a very easy thing to do.
Absolutely. All right. Before we wrap up here, I want to go through some big fights coming up. I want to get your predictions on who's going to win some of these matchups. So after you get done during your thing, you have a great main event. Sal killed Matus Gamrot. Who wins that?
I'm kind of leaning more towards Gamrot. I just feel like, as far as experience, he's dealt with a lot of tougher opponents, and he's had more fights, right? And yeah, he's tenacious. He's pretty fast, explosive. He scrambles really well. It's hard to stop a takedown against him. So I'm kind of leaning more towards him. But that's a tough fight because that other dude's good as fuck too.
We got a really big numbered card here, UFC 330 in August. Main event, Islam Makhachev, Ian Machado Gary. Who wins that thing?
If I had to bet money, which I can't, but if I could, I would bet probably Islam Makhachev. It's just hard to bet against him. He's such a good, clean, technical fighter, and strong as hell, good on the ground. But I feel like a lot of people don't like Ian Gary because of his personality outside of the UFC. You know what I mean? But if you just look at the skill set, like he's good as fuck too, man. He knows how to game plan really well. He's hard to take down up against the fence. Like not a lot of people can take him down. I don't know if really anyone has. And yeah, he knows how to fight at range and not get hit. So yeah, but if I had to bet, I would go with Islam.
Absolutely. All right, last one here. Big middleweight contest. Fluffy, Anthony Hernandez, RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez. Who gets that one done?
I would lean more towards Hernandez. I think just the pressure will wear down RoboCop, but RoboCop's got some power, and he's a big ass dude. Holy shit, he's huge. I didn't know that. I was like, yeah, just the TV makes him look big, and then you see him in person, he's like a Greek statue.
Obviously, you're now in the UFC fighting alongside these guys. That 170 division that you're in, it's so loaded. There's so many great fights, so many great fighters in it. Are you paying attention? Like the guys maybe in the upper top of the rankings, guys who aren't ranked, are you following their fights?
Yeah, so literally I'll go on Tapology and I'll see where I'm ranked, and then I just go all up and down the rankings. And the three divisions I pay attention to most are my weight class, the lightweight division, and middleweight, because people move up and down their weight classes all the time. So I'm just trying to keep an eye out, like who's coming down to welterweight, who's going up in from lightweight. So yeah, I pay attention. Anyone that's signed with the UFC and fought at least once, I know them.
For you, do you have a dream fight, whether it happens or not? Is there one guy, if you could just do it, fight with? Is there anybody?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I would honestly really like to fight Prates. Yeah, I mean, I think me and him would just be an exciting fight. It's a good matchup. Like boxer. That's what most people consider me, but I feel like I can do everything. But boxer versus the Muay Thai, heavy strikers, and you know, I just feel like it would be a good fight, and I would love to test myself against someone like that.
I will say it now, if that ever does happen, that is a fight of the year candidate. I really hope it does. But now, obviously in August, I talked about it a little bit earlier in the interview, we're coming on the Contender Series time. They're starting to talk about it on fights. We're starting to see posts on Instagram of some of the guys competing in it. When you're seeing some of this stuff, does it bring back memories? Does it make you feel a certain way a year after?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it made me go back the other day and watch the Jimmy Drago fight. And yeah, it was just cool. Like, bringing up some old memories about, I mean, not old because it happened literally a year ago, so it's not that old. But, it brought up memories of being back there, warming up, like your first time at the PI and the Apex and stuff. And so it was cool thinking about that and watching the fight again. Yeah, just reliving those moments.
Absolutely. All right, my friend. In the perfect world, last question. What is the outcome August 8th when you make your return to the UFC Apex against Billy Ray Goff?
Round 1 finish. That's what I'm looking for.
Absolutely. Well, Ty, man, thank you so much as always. Always love talking with you, man. Thanks so much for taking time out of your workday. And can't wait to watch you do your thing, my man.
Of course, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. That's it for us, damn Carl Peruzza. He's Mr. Ty Miller looking for another finish, another bonus. August 8th, UFC Apex, taking on Billy Ray Goff. Don't believe fight fans will be a fun one.